and I knew that something was wrong. I just knew it because I do these shows all the time, and they do not put fireworks in the middle of the show. I just knew this was going to happen one of these days. I knew it. Yes, people are just running and screaming and falling, and nobody knows where to go. You don't know where it's coming from. All you were hearing, it sounded like 1,000 shots. I don't know how many there were. My friend found people on the ground in front of Hooters that were dead.
I just everywhere. I mean, police cars, ambulances, everywhere.
But even in those minutes and hours after the shooting, after that first shooting, you said you were still scared. We had gotten these other reports that there were reports that possible other shooters across the city. They were shutting down the airport, people breaching the runways, pure chaos.
Right. That was making it worse for us. Imagine if you were in the middle of it, right? And then you're running for your life, and then okay, you're running, and every step I took toward the north part of the stadium to get out of it, I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to live to see another day, right? And then I get out, and then I get a text message. I know a friend that lives here in Las Vegas. He says, oh, well, now there are shooters at other places now. And so I'm like, okay, where in the world am I going to go?
That's Las Vegas Strip. John, good morning.
Good morning. Well, police say they found in the Mandalay Bay Hotel back here, that room was filled with weapons, as many as 10 weapons in the room that this gunman was using to shoot down into the crowd that was gathered for this concert on the other side of the Las Vegas Strip. Now, cell phone video is helping investigators put together exactly what happened. Many of the people gathered there say it was the scariest time of their life. Some were frozen in panic. Others fled for their lives.
We need your truck. We just need to get people over to the hospital, okay? Okay.
The injured were scattered all along the Las Vegas Strip. Bystanders tried to get those hit by gunfire to the hospital any way they could.
Some were falling and some were screaming and yelling and running. So everyone was just like literally laying on top of each other, trying to get out of the way. Top, and it's like everyone said hit the floor. So everyone was just like literally laying on top of each other, trying to get out of the way. And the shots just kept coming. There were people hiding underneath my car for cover. And there was a gentleman that was shot, and he said, can you help me? And so I put him in my car, and I had like 6 people in my car, people with shoes. My friend, his daughter is only 18, and she got shot.
And then we heard pop, 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 and it just kept going and going, and my husband said,
and then people all over on the floor, the grassy area in front of the stage, were just like, some were falling and some were screaming and yelling and running. And we were in this tower up on top, and it's like everyone said hit the floor. So everyone was just like literally laying on top of each other, trying to get out of the way. And the shots just kept coming. And so we were going down, and when we got down, there was a man that was shot right there. They were trying to take him out. He was all bloody and he was unconscious. And one of my friends was helping him out, and they got him out, and we ran, and everybody's hiding everywhere. I mean, they're hiding under the bleachers and the stanchions and anywhere they could, and everyone's telling us to run as fast as you can. My husband and I ran out toward our car, and there were people hiding underneath my car for cover. And there was a gentleman that was shot, and he said, can you help me? And so I put him in my car, and I had like 6 people in my car, people with shoes, running just to get away. And
no, you are so strong. And Christine, we talked about before you came on camera about how you just tried to scramble and help people as best as you could. Could you talk about, you had your vehicle, and you knew you had to get them help?
We had a gal that was with this couple that the guy had been shot in the back, or in the backside, and I thought he was going to be okay, but he was bleeding, and so he wasn't as serious to shove him into the ambulance that was right there. So I took him in my car, and she said, can I drive? Because she worked for Metro. And we got to the hospital so quick you wouldn't believe it. But But anyway, she drove, and I went to Sunrise Hospital.
Right.
And my husband went in another car with another man that was unconscious to UMC. And I'm here right now because he's in there with my friend whose daughter is only 18 and she got shot.
And that is absolutely tragic, and we appreciate your bravery.
I'm just trying to get in the hospital.
And that is a struggle. So when you came here, you were trying to get into the people who you knew. What were you told, and why?
Oh, what was I told here? An officer said that they're just taking precaution. So, you know, I mean, there are crazy people out there. They shot into a crowd at there are crazy people out there. There are crazy people out there.
We really do have Corinne and Taylor, and they were at the Country Western concert, and you were right near the front. Corinne, what just started happening?
They started shooting, and everyone stayed down, and as soon as everyone started to get up to run, they just kept shooting, and it's like literally like 5 minutes of just shooting, and people just kept dropping, and it's definitely someone on the ground. Definitely, most definitely, the way they herded the crowd and all of us, and then they kept coming. They even came into the back staff parking lot and shot people out there too. To get up to run, they just kept shooting, and it's like literally like 5 minutes of just shooting, and people just kept dropping, and it's definitely someone on the ground. Definitely, most definitely, the way they herded the crowd and all of us, and then they kept coming. They even came into the back staff parking lot and shot people out there too. So they just kept coming. And like I said, there's definitely someone on the ground.
Did you have any friends at this concert?
We all started running, and they came in. That's why there's no humanly possible way that guy that was the only shooter. If you were where we were and how we were hidden, and the way they came in and herded us all out into the stop parking lot. And
comfortable, especially coming here for my 21st birthday, and it makes me feel uncomfortable, especially coming here for my 21st birthday and not knowing if I'm safe, not even knowing if I'm safe going home tomorrow on an airplane. So
and how did you get out of the venue after this all happened?
We actually weren't there whenever the shooting had occurred. We had already left about maybe 10-15 minutes before that, but we just barely made it back into our room whenever it started.
And I mean, were you thinking, oh my gosh, this woman told us that before we left?
Yeah, I thought it had a positive correlation to it. Like, obviously she was telling us that either to tell us, to warn us, or to tell us that we were all going to die, and she was part of it. So
okay, so they want the description of this woman. Describe to me what this woman looked like.
Her and her boyfriend were both Hispanic. They were probably about shorter 5-footers, probably about 5'5", 5'6". They just look like everyday people.
Can you tell us anything more about them, what they look like? Why were they escorted out? Were they escorted out because you were feeling uncomfortable about what they said?
Yes, because she had been messing with the lady in front of her and telling her that she was going to die, that we were all going to die. So they escorted her out to make her stop messing around with all the other people in front of them, but none of us knew that it was going to be serious.
We were just at the concert there, and Jason Aldean was playing, and kind of sounded like some fireworks going off, and then
I believe you're there with Mike Cronk, who you're speaking with earlier.
With his head in his hands, and there's still blood on his hands, and he had been through one of the most with his head in his hands, and there's still blood on his hands, and he had been through one of the most harrowing experiences
at the concert when the shooting broke out. Mike Cronk, who was at the concert when the shooting broke out. Mike, just a horrifying scene right there. Tell us what you went through.
It was very horrifying. At first, it sounded like fireworks, and then my buddy that was
That's right, Mike Cronk. We found him sitting actually right here on the curb, and he wasn't wearing a shirt because he had used it to stanch the blood of one of his friends, and he was sitting there with his head in his hand.
Kind of sounded like some fireworks going off, and then I think there was like the first kind of volley, and then all of a sudden the second volley, my buddy's like, I just got hit, and got hit 3 times, and then people started diving for the ground, and it just continued, and it was pretty much chaotic. Lots of people got hit, lots of people were getting it took a while to get him out. We had to get him over the fence and hiding under the stage for a while, you know, to be.
No, we can't. We can't.
And so if you guys are joining us, these are people who just got off a helicopter tour hours ago. They were shuttled up the strip here. Can you just again explain to me what you heard?
It's just shooting and people just kept dropping. And it was definitely someone on the ground. Definitely, most definitely. The way they heard it, the crowd.
This is Asha Aling for part 2 of my Super Soldier Talk with James Rink. And by the way, I put a Y in my name. So
Here's the story. Here's how Steve is. I would go, when I was flying or whatever, if he was in town and I happened to be flying over, I'd stop in where, we'd go to the hotel and stay at the hotel for a couple days or something and sit under the cabana or something like that. But with Steve, it was like, he'd spend, I'd get to be partake of, but he was a nice guy. People who used to pay him rent. The story about our apartments that we have. The guy says, "Oh, and by the way, the place sucked when we bought it. We fixed it up and made a nice place for these people to live." And Steve gave them cheap rent because we wanted happy people, nice people in our apartments. He said, yeah, he had a quirky sense of humor. Well, what the hell is a quirky sense of humor? People watch movies where they butcher little kids. What the hell are you this is why everybody, and here's my diatribe for the day. This is what everybody's so scared about right now. People watch movies where they butcher little kids. What the hell are you this is why everybody, and here's my diatribe for the day. This is what everybody's so scared about right now. Lived, and I don't want to talk about me because and this is what sucks, I'm going to use the same terms. I'm just a guy. Here's Eric Paddock. I was the youngest son. I grew up with a single mom. Steve was like the dad surrogate. He took me camping. Stuff when I was a teenager. Okay? I have no criminal record or any of that stuff because I'm smarter than the average bear. And I knew to hang out with people who were dumber than I was and who would get caught faster. Okay?
So I hung up and I saw that he'd killed a whole bunch of people. That CNN and every channel had this shooting, and I looked again and they said Stephen Paddock. And I said, what? So I called my mom, and my mom answered the phone, and I said, is that Steve? And she said, I guess so. And I asked her, was he sick like me?
It's a podcast investigating the massacre, and he's given part of that interview to Fox 11 to air exclusively for the very first time.
My feeling for other people. I care more about the people that were hurt.
Get in the truck.
And what it's got to be like to sit on the wrong end of a gun.
News right now. The brother of the Las Vegas concert gunman has been arrested in North Hollywood. KCAL 9's Amy Johnson is live. She is in North Hollywood with more. And Amy, these are some pretty serious accusations.
They sure are, Sandra. We're talking about 59-year-old Bruce Douglas Paddock. He was arrested here at the Four Seasons Healthcare and Wellness Center this morning. That's that brown building there. He was arrested on charges of child pornography and sexual exploitation of a child. Now, Paddock, seen here, is the brother of the Las Vegas shooter, Stephen Paddock. Now, the investigation into Bruce Paddock began before the Las Vegas shooting. In fact, I spoke to a man who didn't want to go on camera, who said Bruce Paddock was actually bragging about his brother after the shooting rampage, announcing to people in the nursing and rehab facility that it was his brother and that he was glad he killed those people.
I think it's terrible. I really do think it's terrible. It's a horrible, very horrible situation. So horrible. Very horrible situation. We should.
Images of child pornography at a San Fernando business where he was reportedly squatting after he was evicted. And when police went to arrest him, he was transient and they just couldn't find him until he was discovered here at the nursing and rehab facility. Now, police are asking the public to contact them if they in fact have had any interaction with him. They are contact them if they in fact have had any interaction with him. Bruce Paddock is being held on $600,000 bail.
His mass shooter today pleaded not guilty to child porn charges. Bruce Paddock was in a wheelchair when he appeared in a downtown LA courtroom. He's being held on $60,000 bail. Prosecutors say he had hundreds of images of child pornography. He was arrested Wednesday at an assisted living facility in North Hollywood.
Channel had this shooting, and I looked again, and they said Stephen Paddock. And I said, what? So I called my mom, and my mom answered the phone, and I said, is that Steve? And she said, I guess so. And I asked her, was he sick like me? She didn't want to talk about it.
Raw emotion from Bruce Paddock as he recalls the night his brother Stephen became the deadliest mass shooter in U.S. history.
So I hung up and I saw that he'd killed a whole bunch of people. And I realized that being sick like me wouldn't make you want to kill a bunch of people or even shoot at them.
And it's all about trying to find out the
people. You know, I care more about the people that were hurt.
Run! Get in the truck!
And what it's got to be like to sit on the wrong end of a gun.
He's in a wheelchair. He's got a spinal condition that he believes that his brother Stephen also suffered from. That condition was a motivating factor in him.
He's lying. Because this guy works for the CIA.
Doing what he did.
Breslow told me Bruce Paddock believes his brother's controlling nature caused him to spiral out of control. Losing money, his girlfriend, and other things may have caused him to snap.
The loss of the ability to control everything because he was always the controlling brother. He's 7 years older than us and raised us, took care of us. He was the father. And he was always mom's best choice.
And you'll remember shortly after the shooting, ISIS claimed responsibility and also claimed that Stephen Paddock was a converted Muslim who carried out the attack on their behalf. Breslow from the podcast tells me when he asked Bruce Paddock about this, he was very dismissive about it and said that his brother Stephen just wasn't capable of that.
He wanted to make sure she had money. She wanted to make sure the same exact thing, the first thing that came to my mind was that she didn't get shot because she was walking through the hotel when the cops came in and her picture started flashing or something.
It must feel so ironic that he would take such great care of her, yet so disregard for others.
Ironic, yes. I guess that's not exactly, I don't know a better word for it, but yes, but the people he loved, he took care of. Take care of her.
Is that why this is so hard to wrap your head around?
That's exactly. The Steve I know, this is like he knew he had up in where, you know, we'd go to the hotel and stay at the hotel for a couple days or something and sit under the cabana or something like that. But with Steve, it was like he'd spend, you know, I'd cheap rent because we wanted happy people, nice people in our apartments. Okay, bottom line, that's how it works.
Have you asked yourself why? I mean, you love, Vegas and the gaming life, and why would he choose a casino to? I mean, not that you know, but have you asked yourself why he would take a thing he loved so much?
Well, of course, absolutely. It's not that Steve didn't love it; it was a job. I did a job for 30 years that I wasn't all that crazy about, but I made a lot of money. I created 4 children successfully. I have a house. I have a retirement. I get to go drive around in my cheap little motorhome now. It's not, Steve didn't love the casino. The casino was a means to an end.
What would you say?
The casino to him was like a job. It was like a job at Toyota in Japan where you live in the Toyota apartments across the street to work. That's what that's all the casino was to him. It was a place where you lived and they were nice to you.
What would you say to families who are
find it.
Business in LA back when the bottom fell out of it. We almost lost all of our savings. We just went on. I mean, we're pragmatic people. We just, we keep going. That's why this not keeping going, there was something that happened to Steve that he took care of Mary Lou. The fact that he took care of Mary Lou and then killed all these people, there's just no connection there for me. I don't understand how Steve got to that point. That's why, once again, and maybe we'll never know, I don't know, but I'm praying. And even, so he lost $4 million, so Mary Lou broke up with him. That's not even, that wouldn't even do it for Steve, because he'd go on. We've had setbacks, and we're in the real estate business in LA back when the bottom fell out of it. We're pragmatic people. I'm not even trying to excuse anything, but something happened that drove him into the pit of hell. And he did this.
You're hoping that there's some autopsy will reveal something to explain.
I'm praying for at least some data points, because otherwise it's the bug in Men in Black put on a Steve suit and went and did this. I'm praying for at least some data points, because otherwise it's the bug in Men in Black put on a Steve suit and went and did this.
Downstairs ahead to me by the elevators. They're screaming. We're right at 2 barrel up here. We're right at 2 barrel up here.
It's Jesus Campos right there. What is the security guard from Mandalay Bay, Jesus Campos, doing with the SWAT team and FBI?
Brian, no traffic. I'm not involved in this stuff. Come on.
He's a security guard.
Copy. Room 135. Shoot, we gotta go. No. We can't get in. This has been barricaded. Stop. You got barricaded? Most likely, this will be dropped. Okay. We're not going to make it. We're in here in the company. It sounds like there were 2 shooters. We were at the event. We were out there. There's 2 shooters. I saw gunshot fire coming out of this room. Shooting outside. Shooting out.
There were 2 shooters. I was at the event.
We're in here in the company. It sounds like there were 2 shooters. We were at the event.
See?
We were out there. There's 2 shooters. I saw gunshot fire coming out of this room.
You weren't there. I saw 2 shooters. That's what he said to Jesus Campos.
Yeah. So it's 32nd, the very last room, 135, on the 32nd. How close on? I get
Land shooting. It was in the news day and night. We heard everything about Nicholas Cruz, his history, his background, the 2 terror attacks by ISIS in New York City that came right after the Vegas attack. We knew everything about it. San Bernardino. You name the attack, whether it's terror or just a man ban.
But the security guard in question, this guy's going on Ellen. He's driving to Mexico. He was witness to the biggest mass shooting ever. What's going on?
I don't know. No one seems to know anything about him. He was a ghost. He was never heard of before. My radio show's #1 show in Vegas. I get all the MGM executives calling me off the air to give me hints. They all say They never heard of Jesus Campos in their entire life until his name came up, which they thought was unusual. No one could believe he was allowed to leave the country within a couple of days of being shot. If he was shot and they claimed it was serious, how do you drive from Vegas to Mexico? Now you add in the Ellen appearance. This is the worst mass shooting in the history of America. The only media appearance he will ever make in his entire lifetime, as announced by Ellen, is on a comedian show, and she happens to be a comedian.
And no one's even trying to track this guy down and ask him any questions.
Comedian show, and she happens to be a comedian.
And no one's even trying to track this guy down and ask him any questions. And we're seeing information he may not have even been registered as a security guard at the hotel. The girlfriend, Fast, is over... sees the shooters wiring her thousands of dollars in cash, and she deletes her Facebook account before anybody even knows it was her boyfriend that did the shooting. What do you think about her?
I even want to get in one more point about the Ellen appearance by Jesus Campos, the security guard, real quick. Ellen has a deal with MGM. She
on Jesus Campos, known aka JC, Jiminy Cricket, right? Now, we have some circulating thoughts in the YouTube.
It's important that you continue to listen to me. 959 is important. It wasn't inaccurate when I provided it to you. The circumstances associated with it is inaccurate. Okay? I am very well aware of the MGM statement provided yesterday. I agree with their statement. I'm not in conflict with their statement. But here's what I will tell you. We were provided the time of 2159 as a human entry into a security log. Through investigation, we have determined that Mr. Campos had encountered the barricaded door adjacent to the suspect's door at approximately 2159. In his attempt to gain entry to the 32nd floor, he required him to ascend to another level and eventually make access to the 32nd floor. He went to the doorway that he was dispatched to originally to address the open doorway. He mitigated that situation and subsequently received fire from the suspect. When you culminate that timeline associated from the initial 2159 to the 2205.
I turn your attention now to Las Vegas, where Metropolitan Police Department officials are giving an update on the shooting investigation. Let's listen in.
Well, good evening. Obviously, I'm Sheriff Joe Lombardo with Clark County. This will be one of many press conferences we have provided in order to provide the public information that is occurring. And then, so the sequence of these events tonight. I will provide you a sequence of some updates of the investigation as we have moved forward since the last time we spoke to you. County. This will be one of many press conferences we have provided in order to provide the public information that is occurring. And then, so the sequence of these events tonight. I will provide you some, can we get some help back there? That is occurring. And then, so the sequence of these events tonight, I will provide you some, can we get some help back there? I will provide you a sequence of some updates of the investigation as we have moved forward since the last time we spoke to you. Any specifics or continuance of any global investigative leads that you need to be aware of. Special Agent Aaron Rouse will provide those that information associated with that. Okay, and then subsequently I will return to the podium, assist with some Q&A, and then Commissioner Sisolak is available if you have any questions of the Commissioner. And then obviously we have Senator Dean Heller who wish to address the audience also. So, President Trump. to produce a profile of someone I will call disturbed and dangerous. What we know is Stephen Paddock is a man who spent decades acquiring weapons and ammo and living a secret life, much of which will never be fully understood, and I will call disturbed and dangerous. What we know is Stephen Paddock is a man who spent decades acquiring weapons and ammo and living a secret life, much of which will never be fully understood. He meticulously planned on the worst domestic attack in United States history. As many of you already reported, Paddock rented a room at the Ogden Hotel in downtown Las Vegas. This has been confirmed. Paddock rented a room at the Ogden Hotel in downtown Las Vegas.
What about the Mandalay Bay?
This has been confirmed. Okay? Reasons that ran through Paddock's mind is unknown, but it was directly during the same time as Life is Beautiful. We have evidence from that location. We don't know if it is evidence, but we have recovered items and video evidence. And I don't want to, you know what, I'm using the wrong term. Evidence is not the term. We have recovered video from there to review Mr. Paddock's actions while he was there. Now, hotel room, this stairwell and this door access is approximately 2 to 3 feet away. 11:20, the first breach was set off and officers entered the suspect's room. They observed the suspect down on the ground and also saw a second door that could not be accessed from their position. So it's a suite, and you have a main area of the suite, which is a living room, kitchen, dinette area, and then on opposite ends of that is
pulling together, we will get through this. So thank you very much to law enforcement, first responders.
Okay, where's Carlos? Carlos, you ready? All right. All right, good afternoon, everyone. I'm obviously Sheriff Lombardo, Clark County. This will be our fourth media briefing since the incident took place yesterday evening. I'm going to give you just a short synopsis of our updates, and then we have other individuals here standing behind me that are going to make some comments, reference other issues associated with today's events.
On the phone, his name is Kevin Kriebel. He's a 28-year-old tech salesman. He said, I own guns myself. He said, I don't own anything that's semi or fully automatic, but I know what they sound like. And after the first bursts of gunfire, I looked up and I didn't see fireworks. I thought it must be a gun, but I figured it was a shootout that was happening on the streets. He said, who posted a status update on Facebook. Quote, a bunch of people that worked the Route 91 said that's the name of the concert, said they got their cell phones back today. They all said that their phones were completely wiped clean. All messages and info from that weekend are completely gone. Anyone else experience this? And a few different people who were vendors there said they experienced the same thing from the FBI. And one of them said, well, of course, it's a federal active crime scene. They can wipe it clean. I was the beverage manager for the entire event. Another one says, yeah, I know you were. And he says, yeah, my laptop was wiped clean. And as Paul Joseph Watson points out, InfoWars was separately contacted by another individual who told us the same story. Both individuals have asked that their names not be revealed. This is looking like a cover-up, folks.